The impact of climate change is being felt by women, men, boys and girls, rural and urban poor communities in Ghana and across the West Africa sub-region as a whole. This is happening in the wake of climatic changes such as frequent drought, flood, high temperatures, incidence of pests and diseases, among others.
First of all, lands which were easily available in the past are now unavailable, and even if they are available, they are inferior quality, and if they are of inferior quality, then it means that women's access is going to be related to that. When women want to have access to land, it is usually the inferior quality types that they get, and this has implications for the country.
As we did our needs assessments, we realized that from the agri sector, issue of drought is a problem, and then insect is also a problem, and then also poor crop yield as a result of inadequate rainfall.
The major challenge that has come out in relation to climate change is one, the rainfall pattern has changed drastically, and secondly, two, there are some of the guinea worm, the infestation of the worms is also issues that farmers are also concerned, because they say years back they were not experiencing those things, but because of the change of the rainfall pattern, those things are now coming up.
Climate finance reflects the larger global financial architecture, which negates practical solutions and prioritization of gender inclusiveness and women empowerment programming. As a result, aged people, women, young and persons with disabilities, majority of the population who are affected by climate change, are at the periphery of climate change interventions.
In Ghana here, the experience of climate change has translated itself into many different forms. We have experienced flooding, we have experienced fires, we have experienced all kinds of both natural and man-made disasters. And these have often impacted negatively on vulnerable groups, particularly women, persons with disability, girls, boys, widows, women who are single mothers, especially in the rural poor and rural urban communities.
Ibuni ngohum no be bambo masukan je ha pamepu se je ha ko ngene ko hu hiomine keke ngo pe fan je ha ko ngene hiomio mai ne kakaka be nye manu no ko ngene ko me ne e be nye ma pe pu oje no e ngene no susun dra bobo boja keke ko me hu momo oja e ngene ko na ngene yi bobo bo keke nganyu omle ta ngene masu keke na ka ta no ki hu be ne mabuni ni odumpe keke hiom enya ya lo jama chele be febio enge nyumle lo momo onenge ndra se ebe force ha e mapi nge jama ta be ne hwanga ha jina ne ko me ka no ko ne ma juadi ko ne ka lo ma ni ye bobo ko ne ka na ka ta ne su ka pe po bi eto ka api
to poblan blajivok sayina na dag do do la fabli la doble chama janyi do wa nu kwam nyuno aglana nyemo na dorako akpama ba sasana vide afilate adunwa akpama ba sasana vide adorakan gbala asin no sakpala aglodon chot akpama ba sasana vide.
Several communities have limited adaptive capacity due to limited access to resources that would enhance their efforts to adapt to climate change. Among such resources are land, credit, agricultural input, political legitimacy, technology, and training services. Ghanaian women work very hard and utilize whatever is available to them to promote their own resilience. Yet, policy failures related to financing of women's productive and reproductive contributions, as well as their limited opportunities to participate in critical decision-making, continue to impact negatively on their livelihoods.
We live in a society where there's already an existing disparity with regard to how women and men and other vulnerable groups are able to contribute to decision making with regard to basic livelihoods. And therefore, in the wake of climate change, it means that such people are going to be worse off. So even when there are interventions or incentives to enhance resilience, you find out that these citizens groups that I have mentioned are the ones who are least likely to participate and benefit from whatever interventions and initiatives there are. And so it is important that as civil society organizations, we position ourselves to amplify the voices of these groups so that their issues and concerns can be part of policy making with regard to climate change.
To address some of the challenges communities are experiencing, Abantu for Development is leading a process of training planning officers and climate change focal persons at the district assembly levels in Ghana. The training seeks to inculcate participatory and gender-responsive climate change milestones and indicators in their medium-term development plans, DMTDP. This will ensure that development plans specifically embed climate change as a cross-cutting issue for implementation.
Under the Southern Voices on Adaptation program, what we have sought to do generally is to develop a core group of citizens, both in the public space, in the informal sector, and what have you, to understand that adaptation is critical for us as an African nation.
So we embarked on building the capacities of the people that we believe would use the JPAs or are implementing adaptation funds or adaptation projects. So we began with the engagements with the government agencies. We moved on to civil society organizations that we believe are key in advocacy. Then we continued with training district assembly planning officers, because when it comes to planning and implementation of projects, especially at the assembly level, we know that it comes to the district planning officers. And because we are a gender-based organization that is key on bringing on board the gender perspectives of climate change adaptation, and we know what climate change means for women especially, we brought on board the gender desk officers within the district assemblies. So we trained both planning officers and gender desk officers on the use of the joint principles of adaptation.
We keep on talking about climate change. I do hear it in the news, whatever it is. That's why I have an idea about it. But when I came to the workshop, I've learned a lot about it. Some of the things I would like to share is, actually, did you know that during the plan implementation stages or whatever the assembly wants to do, they have to involve the gender desk officer in it to implement their policies. But when I came to the workshop, I've learned that. So when I go back and something of that sort is going on, I will make sure I ask questions and ask why is it that they didn't involve the gender desk officer, so that we see how best we can help our district and the community.
The Joint Principles on Adaptation, JPAs, is a tool that has been developed under the Southern Voices for Adaptation Project, SVA, to influence Ghana's policy and planning institutions. Apart from the local government level, other institutions that have participated as partners include the National Development Planning Commission, NDPC, the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning, and the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, MESTI. The strategy has been developed building on the experiences and engagement of the Gender Action on Climate Change for Equality and Sustainability, GASES, with 12 metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies, MMDAs, to mainstream the JPAs into national climate change adaptation plans, practices and financing as defined by the NDPC and allied institutions.
The Southern Voices on Adaptation the phase 2 began last year, And through the implementation of the project, the partners decided to come up with various principles that would govern good adaptation projects. So the principles were developed. They went through various validation processes. And as a result, we had the final version, which became known as the Joint Principles on Adaptation. These joint principles have 7 main principles that govern good implementation of adaptation projects. Because we believe that the JPAs are critical for every adaptation project, we have engaged with government agencies such as the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, MESTI, the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, and other government agencies for the integration of the JPAs into already existing adaptation projects, as well as incoming adaptation projects, and as well as the integration of the JPAs into the NDCs that are currently being planned out.
Since the implementation has started, we have also seen that those we have trained have gone back, especially the district assembly people. They've gone back and integrated the JPAs into their medium-term plans, and they are using that as a basis to monitor and assess the extent to which the National Adaptation Project is being implemented. And so, since this is the first year of the project, it means that next year we need to be alert once again and to check. Because we have this relationship with the ministry, we realize that their level of commitment to transparency, information sharing, and being responsive to local communities is also being amplified. And as a result of many of these initiatives that we've been involved in, we ourselves have also strengthened our capacity and increased our presence in policy spaces around climate change. So all in all, we feel that the SVA has really been an important source for us to be responsive to our constituents.
Yes, I think the JPA is a useful tool in the sense that once we are going to prepare our medium-term plans, which is in the process, and the activities that we are capturing in the medium-term plan, as well as our annual action plan 2018, and then the composite budget that we have kick-started, definitely we are going to make allocation, and with the JPA, we'll be able to mainstream a lot of issues, which, if implemented, we can have what we actually want to get.